My hand brushed the icy metal of a key I hadn't held in years. A key to a place that cradled my youth like a sealed journal, every chapter marked by pain. One email, 6 words etched into my heart like a blade. You're not invited back this Christmas. My name is Caleb Harrow, and I'm about to share how I turned their rejection into a confrontation that left me empty. Stay with me. Have you ever given everything to a family that treated you like an outsider? I was 34, tucked away in a chilly attic in Brookhaven, where the air carried the scent of stale coffee and isolation. I'd just left behind a decade as an offshore welder, years of searing flames, freezing plunges, and pressure that makes your chest ache. I came back wanting something. A smile. A "we've missed you." Instead, I got that email from my father, Roland. Not a call, not a "how's my boy," just a cold digital sting. You're not invited. My mother, Leela, stayed silent. My brother, Ethan, didn't bother. It was as if they'd written me out of their lives. I sank into my second-hand armchair, the dim glow of a single strand of fairy lights pulsing like a fading heartbeat. My throat tightened, not with sorrow, but with something sharper. Resolve. I typed back 2 words, "I get it," but I didn't. It was the snap of a tether inside me. I opened a bottle of whiskey, raised a glass to the void, and murmured to shadows. 6 days later, my phone lit up with 14 alerts. 2 from Ethan, 3 from Leela, 4 from Roland, and 1 from a lawyer named Victor Klein. By then, I'd already lit the spark. Let's go back to where the scars started. I was 18 when I bolted for the oil rigs, not chasing ambition, but escaping a home that felt like a prison. Roland's love was a sermon laced with disdain. "Don't screw this up, Caleb," he'd growl, his words like acid on a wound. Leela was a ghost, always whispering, "He's just worn out, dear." Ethan, 2 years my junior, learned to sidestep fights, aligning with Roland for calm. I didn't. I fought back and I ran. Welding forged my backbone. I climbed the ranks, sent cash home when their roof leaked or their heater broke. I mailed letters from rigs in the Pacific, called on birthdays from platforms in the Arctic Ocean. They took my money but never asked about the tempests or the near misses. Every Christmas, I returned, hoping to step through their door and feel noticed. But Roland would grumble, check the stove, and Ethan would glue his eyes to his phone. I was a resource, not a son. This year I thought it'd be different. I'd left the rigs, my arm wrecked from a bad job, my soul heavy with fatigue. I wanted to collapse into their worn velvet sofa, savor Leela's cinnamon loaf, hear Ethan's bad puns. I booked a bus ticket, packed my bags, and imagined a homecoming. Then that email landed. "You're not invited." It wasn't just a brush-off. It was exile from their lives. That night, sleep evaded me. I dug through old folders on my laptop, searching for a distraction, and found it. A document from 7 years ago. Roland needed a cosigner for a loan to save their house. His credit was shot. I was 27 on leave, desperate for his approval. "Just a technicality, Caleb," he'd said. I signed without reading. Foolish move, but that signature, it gave me 51% ownership of their house. They didn't know I'd discovered it. Not yet. The next morning, I called a lawyer friend, Sam, a real estate guy I'd met at a trade show. "Hypothetically," I said, my voice firm as iron, "what if a cosigner holds the majority stake and the borrower says he's not family anymore?" Sam laughed, short and crisp. "They're in trouble, Caleb. You hold the cards." I didn't yell. I didn't shatter. I wrote an email, sharp and icy, like a legal notice. Effective immediately, I, Caleb Harrow, am exercising my legal rights as majority owner of 27 Maple Ridge Lane. All property matters now go through my attorney. I hit send, picturing their shock as it hit their inbox. Then I rented a cabin in the Catskills for Christmas. No decorations, no carols, just silence and frost. 6 days later, I turned on my phone. The notifications crashed in like a tidal wave. Ethan's voicemail was desperate. "Caleb, what's going on?" Roland's furious. "He's calling lawyers. Talk to me." I sipped my tea, watched the frost melt outside my cabin, and felt nothing. Roland's message came next, his voice a simmer. "You think you can take my home?" "My home?" I deleted it mid-sentence. Victor, their lawyer, left a polished plea. "Mr. Harrow, let's settle this calmly. There's always a path." I didn't reply. This wasn't vengeance. It was truth. For years, they'd counted on me bending, chasing their fleeting approval. But I wasn't that kid anymore. I was a welder who'd faced worse than their indifference. And now I held the deed to their world. Christmas morning, Leela called. Her voice was a fragile thread. "Caleb, please, Roland's breaking. Ethan's lost. Can't we talk?" I stood by the cabin's fireplace, the flames warming my skin, and said, "Leela, remember my 26th birthday?" I was on a rig off Greenland. A cable snapped, nearly broke my ribs. "I called you from the medic bay." She faltered, I don't recall. I nodded to myself. You said don't bother Roland with that. That's when I knew I was alone. She sobbed, begging me to stop, but I was done stopping. I'd already filed the legal papers, a transfer of ownership. A property firm run by an old rig colleague was set to inspect the house that day. They'd find the leaks, the mold, the shoddy wiring, and something else. Tenants. Roland and Leela had been renting out the basement and a spare room to strangers. Cash deals, no contracts. They'd turned my house into a scheme while locking me out. The property manager called at dusk. Caleb, it's bad. Your folks were raging, but we stayed calm. Found tenants, though, no paperwork, shady as hell. I gripped the phone, my jaw locked. Document everything, I said. That night, I drafted another email. As of January 3rd, all unauthorized tenants are evicted. You have 30 days to leave or sign a lease on my terms. This property is under review for violations. I signed it. Caleb Harrow, offshore welder, returning, legal owner. Then I texted Ethan, check your email. January 3rd, I drove to 27 Maple Ridge Lane, not for a battle, but for an ending. I brought my property manager, a locksmith, and a folder of paperwork. Roland flung the door open, his face red with anger and fear. You're not stealing my house, Caleb, he roared. I stepped past him, my boots echoing on the hardwood. Leela clutched a wool scarf, her eyes puffy. Ethan slumped at the dining table, staring at the floor. This isn't your house anymore, I said, my voice calm as a still sea. It's mine. You have 30 days. Sign a lease or leave. Roland lunged toward me, fists clenched, but my property manager stepped in. I didn't flinch. I'd faced worse in the deep. As I walked out, the snow bit my face, but I felt light. Not because I'd triumphed, but because I'd stopped aching for them. That house wasn't home. It never had been. Home was the strength I'd built in myself, the wounds I'd carried, the life I'd seize. If you've ever had to cut ties to find peace, drop a comment, share your truth. And if this hit home, hit subscribe. Let's keep telling the stories that hurt deep. I'm Caleb Harrow, and I'm done being unseen. Thanks for watching by Broken Bonds.